All right, I read just a little bit of a book called The Blue Man by Dr. Robert Norman, written in 2014. He puts that right on the cover of his book. I was just pacing up and down the library aisle and come across that book and decided to take a look at it because I was curious about the Blue Man, what he had to say. And it took me a little bit to get to the Blue Man. I skipped a few chapters. I read the introduction. He's trying to compare himself to Oliver Sacks. He's being a little too political about racial equality and saying that everything is feelings and how perception and society perceives skin, because he's a skin expert, and that's why he put the Blue Man as a title for his book. But he goes into all kinds of racial things about the emotions behind the skin. I thought he was going to be more about hard facts, and especially about the Blue Man, but he had barely anything to say about the Blue Man. But he did meet the Blue Man. That must have been that's what inspired his book. That must have been a great opportunity for the doctor. But yeah, I had to skip a few chapters, and he dedicated 4 pages out of his, I don't know, it was 150 pages maybe, of a book written in 2014, The Blue Man. And it he wrote a different synopsis, a different diagnosis than what the news reported. Unfortunately, for the longest time, I believe the Blue Man was suffering from colloidal silver. I thought he was overdosing colloidal silver, like drinking it by the gallon. A silver that changed his skin to blue. That's not true. And this doctor says that. Now maybe the Wikipedia has been updated. I didn't really look too closely at that. But the news stories did come out talking all about this guy's heavy ingestion of the colloidal silver, and that's what I was left with believing. And I think it goes back to the early 2000s. The Blue Man died at age 62 from a heart disease, and he died blue. He never recovered his normal color, and he did have a normal color. There was talk about how there might have been genetic predisposition, but this guy, this Blue Man, he was taking other medication. So the news reports distracted us from the real cause, and I think that's just a political thing. In a lot of ways, they support doctors more than alternative medicine. The news reports are quick to laugh at alternative medicine and wholly support doctors, whatever doctors prescribe. If doctors say smoking is good for you, then the news will say smoking is good for you. And that's what happened for a long time in the mid 1900s. But this Blue Man, the doctor said, out of narrowing it all down, out of all the things the Blue Man was taking, I'm sure he was evaluating food and medications and the alternative stuff, lifestyle, sun exposure, all kinds of things. He narrowed it down to minocycline, which is an antibiotic. Minocycline, minocyclene, and that was to treat infections, which the Blue Man had. He had a MRSA infection, and he was taking minocycline. He was taking minocycline on and off. Let's see. They said that Blue Man started getting blue at 15 years before 62. So what's that? 52. Yeah, in his mid 40s, he started turning blue, and it was a gradual change over time. He was at his bluest by 62. So it was in his mid 40s, I guess. That's when he started taking the antibiotic minocycline to kill infections. And the Blue Man had heart problems. That's what he died of, was some kind of a heart failure. But he was also taking various medications, and they let it go for 15 years. And until this Dr. Robert Norman looked at him and really took the time to narrow down the problem. So that's interesting to me. I believe for a long time that it was colloidal silver that caused the issues. So now it's changed my mind. I just come across the book in the library. I have some extra time now that I don't have to deal with any legal issues directly. Like, I still have the the Natchitoches case still hanging over my head, over 2 years now. That's bothersome, but not as bothersome as those first few months of preparing for trial. I'm preparing for second trial, but with a lawyer. So I'm able to turn my focus away from legal problems and focus on my health. So I'm curious about this stuff. These weird situations that change people's skin color, change people's outcome. And I've been using more vinegar for a lot of different in a lot of different ways, and I'm not having any problems with it. I seem to be having more benefits. Groin issues, groin infections gone, toe infection gone, little bumps that were itchy like on my arm. I just splash some vinegar on it, rub it with my hand, no longer itchy, gone, the bumps go. So it's like skin really benefits from the vinegar. There's only certain parts extra sensitive on my body that contact with vinegar doesn't that burns. It actually burns. But my hands, everything, face, I put it in my hair. When my head gets itchy, I just take a capsule full of this great vinegar, a capsule full of vinegar. I didn't show the pouring. And then just kind of quickly put it on my head, rub it all in, get that vinegar to touch the skin. I want it making contact with the skin. Do it several times too. and it's not really, when my top of my ear itches from too much sweating, I try to put vinegar on it. That doesn't seem to help a whole lot. It does burn though, so I got sores above my ears. It might be helping a little bit, but it's really the hot sun and the sweating that's causing the problem there. But I turn to alternative ways of health, of trying to fix my health, trying to keep it in balance. I want balanced health, and I've been doing the copper cup, and this colloidal silver is kind of similar to that, because the metals, gold, silver, and copper, even aluminum too, but I don't really deal with aluminum, are supposed to have some antimicrobial effects, and I'm not sure exactly why the Blue Man was doing the silver, colloidal silver, but it could be for just killing bad bacteria when you get a yeast overgrowth or just bad overgrowths of different kinds of infections. I try to focus on metal. I want metal over plastic when it comes to water bottles. I'm allowing contact with the plastic for the top, but just general carrying of the water, I want it in a metal container, and I cause more rusting to happen. Doesn't really show. There's a little bit in the back there. That rusting is brought out a little bit faster with the vinegar. It brings out a little rusting, and I'm not sure how bad it is to ingest the rust from copper, but I'm not feeling bad health effects with my new experimentations, new improvements to my lifestyle. I'm trying to counteract the problems that I get on the spots, not living, kind of living in the moments, trying to figure out in the moments what's going to give me relief, and I'm making adjustments to keep me feeling like just balanced. I want to feel balanced. I don't need to feel awesome, but I don't want to feel terrible. I want to be just right in the middle with everything. And it's nice to be able to take the time to learn about other people's challenges. It's when it comes to health. And now I know about the Blue Man, and he was into a very unique approach to health. And I haven't really looked too closely at the drug shelves. Is colloidal silver still sold? Because I think just that news reports must have killed the sales of colloidal silver. Because I just looked up the Blue Man to see, like just I read the first article, and it just kind of says there's a colloidal silver. Well, now I could change my attitude on that, and I know it's antibiotics, and I don't take antibiotics. I'm doing antibiotics through vinegar and copper. That's the thing, and just mainly in a lot of prevention too, because I made a terrible mistake cutting meat with this, and then the next day I cut an orange and using the same unclean knife. I never really cleaned this knife after handling meat. So I think I had a cross-contamination issue there, where the meat fluids, the bacteria on that knife, it survived long enough to transfer into the orange juice. Because I only consume oranges in their whole form. I am done with orange juice before I get my hands on it. I'll do the juicing around here. All right, and that goes for apples too. I'm not having any more applesauce in my life. It's only whole apples, whole oranges, whole everything. I don't want anything mixed. Peanuts, I don't want peanut butter. I'll mix it myself. I got my own mortar and pestle. Do it myself. So, but I made a mistake with cutting the orange, and I think I cross-contaminated, and I got a pain in my guts that lasted a few days. I know it was likely E. coli infection. So I've learned my lesson from that. I don't want E. coli infection anymore. So I have this knife on reserve. I got a knife for cutting meat exclusively only, and then you can see the orange peel particles on this. I got this knife set aside for fruits, cutting various fruits. I also got another little knife, but this is for cutting packages. So I'm just going to separate the knives because I'm not very good at cleaning. I just want to separate them and not mix meat fluids with fruit or vegetable fluids in any way. Cross-contamination is real. I got lazy and suffered from that. It was not fun to deal with that infection. E. coli, salmonella, just some kind of bad bacteria that's debilitating. It makes you question your health, your state of health. I had to just sit back and relax and just try to let it pass through. There's nothing else I could do. I couldn't take anything else. It got in me. I was infected inside. So there's all I could do is just try to just keep my spirits up, my health up, and let it pass through. And it passed through, and I'm no longer in pain, so it works out. So antibiotic drugs are really something to avoid. Obviously, some people they rely too much on doctors. I like to test myself to see if I even have an infection first by using the magnets if I put a magnet on it and the pain goes away, it's not an infection. Okay, but I put a magnet on it and the pain lingers, then it is an infection, and I gotta take a different protocol with that. So you got the electrical, and you got, well, there's several: electrical, toxic, or an infection. Three things. You got to look at the electrical. Is it a pinched nerve? Is it a toxin in the air, something you drank that's got a toxin in it? Or is it an infection, some kind of live organism that just got in you and is using its hooks to rip your insides out by the thousands? It's several things to look at with that. So that's my new perception of the blue man that I was just realizing, and then I went on a ramble there, so I'm going to stop.